welcome to Visual Recreation, the essential video guide to winning FML each and every week. I'm your local movie buff and cool guy, Drew.
Hey, and I'm Joey, the strategy guy, and this week we're taking a look at 3 new movies entering the box office with John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, A Dog's Journey, and The Sun is Also a Star.
That is a fact and also a movie.
This is true.
But the first movie we're going to be looking into is John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
That's right. Now John Wick is back at it again, but this time he has a $14 million price tag on his head, and he has to survive with the most ruthless hitman and hitwoman. They're hot on his trail in this one.
That's right. That is a pretty expensive head. Now, this movie stars Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, and Halle Berry. This was also directed by Chad Stahelski, who was an executive producer on John Wick 1, and he also directed John Wick Chapter 2.
Alright, now the theater count for this movie is at 3,600 theaters plus. The long-range forecast is equal to $37 million, with a Rotten Tomato score currently at 97%.
Wow, that is great. That's a great Rotten Tomato score for any movie, let alone one about just murdering people senselessly.
Hey, it's John Wick, man. It's popular.
That's right. Now, when we were looking at the other John Wick movies, John Wick, the first one, came out in October of 2014, and it opened to $14 million, the same as John Wick's head in Chapter 3, in 2,600 theaters. Now, John Wick Chapter 2 opened in February of 2017, and it opened to $30 million in over 3,100 theater counts. Now, Joey, what do you think this movie's gonna do? Do you think it can hit the 37 million mark in 3,600 plus theaters, or do you think it's gonna hit lower?
I mean, if it doesn't, it's gonna come pretty close. I mean, John Wick is pretty popular. I mean, he's even made it all the way into the popular video game Fortnite, so I mean, the popularity is there. But if we're just talking movies, yeah, I think 14 million and 2,600 for John Wick, and then it just increased in John Wick Chapter 2. Yeah, John Wick Chapter 3 is going to bank some more. Yeah. Maybe 35 if it doesn't hit 37.
Yeah, I think this trailer really hits the mark on the head, and I think this one could do a 10,000 PTA at this moment that we're filming this. And so with a 3,600 plus, I think it could hit that plus, maybe even do like 38, maybe even close to 40 million. But we'll just see how it all goes with the rest of this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the next movie we're going into is A Dog's Journey. As Bailey's soul is about to depart its body and go into a younger, newer dog's body, it vows to Ethan to find his granddaughter and protect her at all costs.
Yes, now this movie stars Dennis Quaid and Josh Gad as Bailey.
Yes, he's reprising his role as the dog. Now this movie is looking to be in 3,200 plus theaters, long-range forecast of $13 million, and Rotten Tomato score of 67% just on the fresh meter. What's some of the comps that we were looking at, Joey?
Yeah, so some of the comps, of course, we took a look at A Dog's Purpose. That opened in January of 2017 to $18 million in 3,200 theaters. And then we looked at A Dog's Way Home, which opened January of this year to $11 million in 3,100 theaters.
That's right. Now, A Dog's Way Home looks eerily similar to A Dog's Journey.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it looks very, very similar. I think they're based off of the same book, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe if I am, leave me a comment. But for me, it's kind of worrisome because if we didn't just have A Dog's Way Home come out earlier this year and it made 11 million in 3,100, and this was just, like, if we didn't have that and it was just a straight sequel from A Dog's Purpose in January of 2017, I think I would feel better about it. However, we just had it January of this year, 11 mil. I am not too hyped up about this. I think it could maybe even do 11 mil now. Maybe even less. Maybe people could be like, seen it already. Whatever.
Yeah, I can see that, especially with A Dog's Way Home. I mean, we just got a dog movie. I mean, dogs movies do really well in the box office, but when you just have one and then you have all this competition. Yeah. I mean, you got Endgame that's still in there. You got John Wick coming out this week. I don't know. It's not going to be a good start, I feel like, for this one. So I think it's going to probably go less than the 13.
I definitely agree. It's looking rough to me at the moment.
I like that.
Thank you.
Now, the next movie we're going to talk about is The Sun is Also a Star.
Fact, but also a film.
That's right. Now, when two college-age strangers meet and they have a great day in New York, they start to get feelings for one another. But when Natasha's parents get deported, they're trying to figure out if they want to be together or not.
That seems like a pickle, Joey.
It does seem like a pickle.
This one stars Yara Sahidi and Charles Melton. This was written by Tracy Oliver, who has given us such films as Girls Trip and Little.
That's right. Now, the theater count for The Sun's Also a Star is at 2,100 theaters, plus the long-range forecast is $10 million, and that's a decrease from last week.
Yeah.
And there's no Rotten Tomato score to be found for this movie.
Not yet.
At the moment.
That's right. Now, when looking at movies, we were looking at 5 Feet Apart that came out earlier this year in March of 2019, and that opened to $13 million in 2,800 theaters. And then we looked at Everything, Everything in May of 2017. Guess what? May of 2017.
Hey.
It opened up to $12 million in also 2,800 theaters. What do you think about this one, Joey? Do you think it hits the double digits? It's on the precipice of double digits. Do you think it hits into the double digits, or do you think it kind of like fumbles?
I think it's gonna get there and then just drop the ball right there. I think it's gonna fumble. I don't think it's gonna hit that 10 million because, I mean, look at the theater counts. The two comps before that was 2,800. This one's only 2,100, maybe a little bit more than that. Plus, like I've said about the other movies, there's so much more competition out there right now for this type of movie to get double digits opening weekend. I'm not seeing it.
That is true. We just had Avengers Endgame come out not too long ago.
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu just came out last weekend. And then this weekend we have John Wick, who seems to be cleaning up all the money, no matter whether it's for teenagers or adults. So, I don't know. I think these are the ones that are hard to test out. The Sun is Also a Star is a teen romance movie with drama built into it, which is tough to gauge, because they fluctuate so crazily. But I just don't know. If you take the PT of these two movies, put them to this this long-range forecast, which I only think that if it gets plus, it gets like 2,200.
Okay.
Maybe even at the most 2,400. And that's just not enough. I think it's going to hit under 10 mil, maybe even 7. But then again, we have to see what happens later on in the week. But that's just my thought. That's just my thought.
No.
That's my thought, which is also my opinion.
That's right. And I agree with your opinion.
Thank you.
All right. But that's all we have for you this week.
That's it.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, please click that subscribe button right down there. And if you want to check out more videos, click here and here. And remember,
sometimes you gotta risk it to get that biscuit, which is also a bakery item.